Hi, my name's Regan, and I'd like to welcome you to the School of Alchemy. I've started this school because I wanted to create a place that combines the right mix of practical, theoretical, and spiritual education. Effectively, it's a school of life in which there's no degrees, no grades, just results. And hopefully, the result of your time working with the School of Alchemy, or watching our videos, or being a part of our community, using our apps, whatever it is, hopefully the result of that is a marked improvement in your life. That's the only result that matters, really. Socrates said that an unexamined life is not worth living. In the School of Alchemy, we try to give you a lens through which to examine your life. And this then helps you identify, define, and live in alignment with your own life's purpose. So, what I'd like to do is tell you a short story that is my background, and hopefully that will explain a little bit about why this is my passion project. Okay, so you see, I came from the world of academia. I spent much of my adult life in the academic world. I'm a neuroscientist with a background teaching cognitive and behavioral psychology. So that means I've completed a PhD. I'm a doctor, and I've written, a dozen or so articles, peer-reviewed papers on topics from neuroscience, psychology, decision making. I've discovered perceptual illusions. I've written articles on artificial intelligence, consciousness, meditation, and the future of education. And so while I loved being a researcher, loved being a scientist, I became increasingly aware that the academic world was failing to provide a true education. Most students were not better off for having gone to university. They would have been better starting a business or learning a trade. So I realized that universities are not necessarily living up to their stated purpose, which is to give people the skills that they need to succeed in the modern world. And the true mark of an education, in my mind, is whether or not you succeed in life. So that leads to a natural question of what is success? And there's a video that I find very profound. It's by a man named Earl Nightingale called The Stranger's Secret. And in that video, he defines success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So he gives examples. He says, a man working towards a predetermined goal, someone who knows where they're going, that's a success. If he's not doing that, then he's a failure, right? So success and failure are very simple. Working towards a worthy ideal is a success. Not doing so, failure. He goes on to say things like, a success is a school teacher, someone who's teaching because that's what they chose to do. A success is a mother, a wife, someone who's good at taking care of their family because that's what they chose to do and they do it deliberately. He says a man who chooses to run a corner gas station because that was his dream and he did it deliberately. That is a success. So for myself, I've always had a passion for science and truth and knowledge and learning. I wanted to educate myself and understand my consciousness, understand who I am. And so in about the year 2021, I left research in what was more or less a dream job, right? I was a neuroscientist working in a consciousness lab. So working on some really cool, interesting projects, very much aligned with the kinds of things that I'm interested in. And moved into what I would consider more the real world. And that is bringing my knowledge, bringing my experience out of academia so that people can benefit from it directly. I then created this place, the School of Alchemy, so I can connect directly with people who want to learn this stuff and learn skills that will help them in their desired profession, but also give them a true education, help them understand themselves and become successful in what it is that they want to do deliberately. Okay, so basically, in other words, my goal here is to provide a space to educate and to help people do what they love while they learn what they're interested in. To me, that's my definition of success. If I can do that, I'm a success. You see, while I was a scientist, I was also very spiritual. I spent countless hours studying and practicing Buddhist meditation, experimenting with psychedelics, exploring my conscious and unconscious mind, including through introspective practices like lucid dreaming. I've also always had a very practical and competitive side to me. I've always liked to keep fit, stay strong, compete in sports events, and basically learn how to win across different domains. And my exploration of these seemingly very different domains, science and academia, education, plus the mind, consciousness, spirituality, all of these things led me to realize that these fields are not that different after all. What I discovered is that there are principles that underlie success in any domain. In fact, there are universal principles of success that anybody who applies them and anyone who performs at the top level in any domain is also tapping into. So it's this that I care about. It's understanding the principles of success and then applying them in my life and teaching them to others while I do. So I've come to the view that there are basically three important levels on which humans operate. There's the material world. So this is our body, our physical environment, the material assets that we have. And this is all the world of the physical. And then we have our psychological world, right? This is how we think, how we feel. We're members of society. We are embedded in a culture. We're individuals. We learn lessons. We are students, right? We experience internal growth. All of this is kind of the world of the mental. And then there is the unseen world. This is the world of myth and legend. It's about gods and demons, heroes, villains, saviors, victims. This world is inhabited by our guiding spirits, devious devils. And while it is a largely unseen world, it's actually from this world we divine our true life purpose. We orient towards our passions. We carve out our personal mission for our life. This is the world of the spiritual. And importantly, the three planes, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, they're not separate. They're actually integrated parts of our being. And in my view, it's our purpose here on Earth to succeed in each of these goals or each of these domains simultaneously. In other words, it's our job to align our physical, mental, and spiritual worlds within us as individuals. When we are aligned, we become full. We become full of passion, full of purpose, full of life. We think clearly, we live in harmony and at peace. We feel good, we look good physically, and then we excel in whatever we choose to put our energy towards. In basic words, we become successful. And by contrast, when we're not aligned in this way, we become disintegrated. We are confused, frustrated, angry, resentful. We can't focus. We think poorly of ourselves. We suffer terribly. Our faces sag, our posture hunches. We decline in health, wealth, and happiness. What I've just described to you is the difference between being oriented towards heaven and oriented towards hell. And the art of developing across these domains is the ancient practice of alchemy. It's the integration of these three realms of the human being. It's the transformation and the purification of the human soul so that we orient ourselves towards a better life and a better world. The beauty of the alchemical process is that it applies to all of us, all the time, in whatever space or whatever time we find ourselves in. It applies just as much to someone stricken by poverty as it does to someone in royalty here on Earth. Because we're all governed by the same spiritual forces, despite those apparent differences in our material, mental, or cultural circumstances. And see, since all alchemy really means is transformation, or also known as transmutation, what this means in practice is that it's about becoming our best self across those three planes of human existence, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. Understanding this and applying it in your own life is what I'm here to help with. So, welcome to the School of Alchemy. I look forward to seeing you inside.